Hello, welcome to the Whatcom County Adjudication Resources Explorer. Also going to refer to this as a web map. This is an online, publicly available free mapping tool the county developed for water users in the adjudication. Very helpful as you look at properties, parcels. We need to calculate acreage. We're going to do a little demonstration on how to calculate acres on any property, which is useful in filling out the adjudication form. There's a lot of tools within this web map. We're not going to cover all of this today. This is going to be kind of a basic and hopefully helpful tutorial. I'm going to first show you how did I get here. So starting on the county's homepage, I'm going to scroll down, hit Water Adjudication. It'll send you to this page. Lots of useful information. Not going to cover all of what's here. We're instead going to click on Public Works Water Adjudication Resources. That's going to send you to this page. More information. This keeps current with the latest news as the adjudication progresses. We want the adjudication resource map, so you can get there here on this link at the top left, or if you scroll down, you can all get there here. So when I click on that link, it's going to send me eventually to the mapping page that we're at. Quickly cover, these are some tiles at the bottom that will take you outside of this map. This is a water use estimator the county developed to, if you want to calculate how much water a household uses in a given year, how much water a lawn uses in a given year, and if you have bigger, more commercial irrigation uses, there's also an irrigation calculator there too. This is a map the Department of Ecology developed specifically for the WRIA adjudication. This will go into a lot of detail on water right information. So click in there to explore that. Google Earth Pro is another mapping tool you can use to look at parcel information. And then there is some historical aerial tools, which is useful in looking at water use over time. Depending on the level of complexity of your adjudication documentation, you may want to look at historical aerials. And then the city of Bellingham also has a useful aerial viewer. Again, you can explore those on your own. We're really just going to cover this WRIA tool today. So how do I use this? If you have a mouse, and I want to go to any area that's outside of what I'm looking at now, this is the default view. I just simply hold left on my mouse, and you see it turns the arrow into a hand, and I can, as long as I hold it down, I can zoom or I can scroll over or pan to any other areas on the map. If I want to say I want to really zoom in, if your mouse has a wheel on it, you can just scroll it forward, zoom in, and scroll back out to zoom out. You can also use these tools here. Say I want to quickly just get back to the default view, I click on this home button here, and quickly we're going to cover the main tools in the web map. This is an image gallery. Again, lots of different views, layers you can look at. We're just going to stick to this first default imagery hybrid today. And this is another version of layers you can put on the web map. If I was curious about the water systems in an area, I can click on this and you'll see it'll populate that. This will give me WRIA sub-basins. You want to get into that level of detail. Today we're just going to use the WRIA Nooksack area default. I should mention, if you're not familiar with WRIA, it's shorthand for Water Resource Inventory Area. Washington State has over 60 of these, basically defining watersheds in any part of the state. And of course, we're talking about WRIA 1, which is western Whatcom County, some parts of northern Skagit County, Point Roberts coming down from the Canadian border. And then the rest of these tools we're going to get into a little further detail in a second. This is a draw and measure tool, a search tool, pretty self-explanatory. A print tool, very useful. It's important to note that this does not save your work. So if you are calculating acreage, say, and you want to save that, say you're doing a number of parcels, you're going to want this print tool. And then lastly, instruction tool is helpful. There is a pretty robust help document that looks like this when you click on that link. This has even more information than I'm covering today in this how-to video. So if you want to really digest all this web map can offer, you click on this help document. Okay, the last part of the video, we're going to show you how to calculate acreage. So I put in an address, which is the Linden Fairgrounds. I'm going to click on the results. It gives me a number of options. I'm going to double click on this and it's going to zoom me here. Great, this is what I wanted. I'm going to zoom in a little further using my mouse scroll. I'm going to hold left again to turn that arrow into a grab hand. And okay, I want to know the water use on this browner piece of the lawn here. And I want to know how big that area is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Draw and Measure tool. And lots of options here. We're not going to use all of these, really just going to use 3. So you see we're already at the arrow. We're going to draw a polygon, and then the other useful tool here I use a lot is Clear All. I made a mistake, it happens. Oops, I want to back up. You just hit this and it'll clear it. So how do I know how many acres that brown piece of lawn is? I'm going to click on Polygon, and you can select colors. You don't have to have a color. I like having a color just because it makes it stand out, easier to see. These 2 options I don't need to worry about. This just means it's 100% basically visible, and you want to make sure this show area measurement is on. I'm going to select it on, and then there's units. So do I want to measure in acres or square feet? Generally I'm going to want to use acres, so I'm going to click on that. Now watch as my arrow goes from this part of the web map to this, and you see now it's changed into a crosshair with a floating color bubble. So I'm going to use left click on my mouse and I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to click once, there's one corner, you see it, you can clearly see the line extending. I'm going to keep going. It's a nice bright orange so I know the area I'm covering. And then when I'm done, I'm going to double click, and this will, if I don't double click, I just keep clicking, it'll keep going like this. So, oh, I made a mistake. Well, that's important. Here's that Clear All tool. And Clear All. So let's start again. I'm going to say I want my square I'm measuring here. Draw the square, and then here I'm going to double click, and it tells you the area. So super useful. 3.17 acres. Again, because this doesn't save, I'm going to want to print. So I go to the print feature here. If you want to print a physical copy, it'll give you like a default letter size. If you have bigger paper, tabloid or legal as it's called, there's 11:17 feature. And if you can include a legend and some north arrows on here. And then I'm going to hit print. And I can then repeat this as many times as I want for as many parcels as I have to measure the acreage for. That is really it, all we wanted to cover today in this tutorial. Again, this web map has a super useful help document that goes into more detail than I did here. And hopefully this is a helpful video for you as you document your water use for the adjudication process. Thank you.